Wasn't Randy one of the trumpet players in your first big band?
Yes, he was, and I mean, Randy was the trumpet player you wanted to have in whatever kind of band you were having. He's just such a wonderful musician, has a strong personality. He's a team player, great guy. Just did it all, and it was an honor to have him in the band. And it's always, I always relish the opportunity to play with Randy. It feels comfortable. It feels great all the time.
Bob, your big band came out of the scene at Randy and Mike's club, 7th Avenue South, didn't it?
Yes, it did. That club, run by Randy and Michael, was a golden opportunity of sorts for people that were trying to play a little differently, perhaps, and didn't fit into the mold of maybe the Village Vanguard or the other clubs in town that had sort of particular agendas. So you could go into 7th Avenue South and basically play what you were hearing in your head, and that was an incredible opportunity. And there was just a group of people that played there with their respective bands, and I just simply started calling them kind of on a lark to see if they might be interested in being in this big band. And to my total surprise, everyone seemed interested, and a big band was born, something I really hadn't ever intended to do, actually, but it just kind of sprouted feet and started running, so I hopped on.
Well, we've got 3 veterans of Thad and Mel's band here. Bob, when did you join that band?
1978.
And why was that experience special for you?
Oh, for the obvious reasons. It was a fantastic band, great musicians. There was a real band sound and tradition that had been in place for a couple of decades prior. And Thad Jones was, one of the great arrangers, composers, band leaders of all time. And it was just such a revelation to be a part of that and sit in his band and watch him and experience the music and play the music. And it had a huge impact on my musical life.
Kenny, an impact on your life as well?
Oh, absolutely. I joined the band around, I guess, 85, and I was in the band till around 95. That was when it was just the Mel Lewis Orchestra. But I feel like, I wasn't with Thad, but his music was the only thing. You could play it every week and never grow tired of it. I mean, there were a lot of great arrangements there, and I never grew tired of any of them. But, I mean, you could re-experience the joy of playing a Thad Jones chart that you had the first time you played the Thad Jones chart. There was something kind of amazing or mystical. I don't know what the element is. And he tremendously influenced me in my first few big band things that I wrote. First a few which were for the Mel Lewis Orchestra, but then I went on to do some of the European bands, and I have a couple of CDs out like that. And definitely is part of it, which is completely owed to Thad Jones. And Mel was a real unsung hero. I certainly, to play with him for 10 years, explains a certain swing that comes natural to me now that I never even think about, but it came from playing with him and Dennis Irwin. As late as 1985, I don't believe there's anywhere you could find a rhythm section like that, if it ever did exist, between Dennis's earthly tone and feel and Mel, and I got to play with that for 10 years, so tremendously influential on me.
Yeah, well, a lot of musicians' roots are in big bands. Randy, you played with Thad's band, you played with Clark Terry, you played with Duke Pearson. Right. Why are big bands so strong in your background, in your life?
Well, I came up listening to big bands, Maynard, Stan Kenton, Woody's band. When I was 15, I went to the Stan Kenton band camp at Indiana University, which is why I ended up going to college there. And Marvin Stamm was my ensemble director. He was a youngster in the band. Peter Erskine was at the camp. He was like 7 years old and played great then. His father was the camp doctor. But I just fell in love with the sound. I'll never forget, the Stan's band would play every night with Dee Barton on drums. Who was really a trombone player. But it was amazing, great players, that band. Charlie Mariano was around. He wasn't, I don't think, playing in the band at that time, but he was at the camp and was I had to start in Stan's band, so just the sound stayed with me. Then I fell in love with Maynard's band. I used to go hear Woody Herman's band when Sal and Joe Romano were in the sax section and Jake Hanna on drums. So I always had that as part of my upbringing, so to speak. And there was quite a bunch of big band rehearsals with local Philly guys in our living room. A guy named Evan Solat had transcribed a lot of Stan's music, and we, when I got old enough to really play, well enough to play it, we had a lot of rehearsals in our living room with local cats from Philly.